Hey everyone, Chris G here, and today I want to talk about two auto-dosing coffee grinders. Now, if you want the best coffee experience, one of the best places to start is by grinding your own beans. Fresh ground beans just taste better, and using a burr grinder is going to be one of the best ways to do that. Simply put, a blade grinder causes friction, which causes heat, and thus affects the taste of your beans, whereas a burr grinder is the most effective way to sort of just crush your beans into like the most beautiful, best tasting possible way that they can be. Here we have two arguably premium auto-dosing burr grinders. Basically, all you have to do is kind of plug in a couple of things and it pops out the exact amount of coffee that you want. One is from KitchenAid, the other one is from Breville. And what we want to discuss today is which one of these two is better and which one you should buy yourself. Let's get the price out of the way really quick. The KitchenAid is anywhere between about $150 and $200, and the Breville is about $199. Both of them can be probably found for roughly the same price, especially if you're scoping out deals and coupon codes and all that other kind of stuff, but largely they are similar in price, but the KitchenAid you might be able to find slightly cheaper. As stated before, they are also both burr grinders, and they are also both auto-dosing, meaning that all you have to do is tell it you want 2 espresso shots, hit a button, it will grind them out to the perfect espresso size. But now let's talk about which one you may want over the other. Now, I have been using the Breville for about the better part of a decade, the older model to be specific. This is the newest version of the Breville that you can get, and they have made some updates to it. But the things that I didn't like about the old one, they haven't actually fixed in the new one. Let's go ahead and take the way that they load up first. So you have the bean hoppers at the top. Both of them can hold anywhere between 3/4 to like a pound of beans, certainly more than enough that you'll need for most. But the Breville's like bean hopper is just a little bit more complicated. It's a little bit harder to clean, more nooks and crannies, more moving parts. The KitchenAid just sort of screws right off. Pop it in a dishwasher, you're good to go. I do find that the bean hopper in the KitchenAid is just overall a little bit nicer. I also find the user interface on the KitchenAid to be a little bit better as well. Let's start with the grind size. You have this nice like kind of lever at the top that you can pick the kind of grind that you want. It's not like it's bad on the Breville. I mean, you've got this big knob on the side and it tells you anywhere between, you know, like French press all the way to espresso. This one starts at French press, goes all the way to espresso. So they're both pretty similar there. And they will show you on the display, of course, which size that you want. They'll both also change from like cups to shot, depending on which one you pick. So that's kind of a cool touch as well. However, I do find that the KitchenAid, in terms of finding the grind time, is a little bit nicer. So on the KitchenAid, you've got this thing right here that you can adjust the grind time. I like that. You also have on the side here a sort of faster way to adjust things like the shots and cups. So this is sort of like this thing on the side here, this little knob on the side here will sort of like let you find maybe like the overall thing that you need, and then like let's call it 5 cups of, you know, coffee for your Mocha Master. Whereas this thing will just sort of like let you dial in the time just a little bit more depending on what you pick. On the Breville here, you do have, of course, the grind amount knob right here. You also have the shots and cup option, but I find that it is easier to twist a knob or a little like sleeve or something like that than it is to hit a button and then have to go all the way back to the beginning. Like let's say you want 5 cups and then you pass the number 5. Now you got to hit the button to go all the way back to number 5. And that can get a little bit annoying, but then again, you can kind of fine tune the grind amount with this little knob right there. So both of them, again, have like a similar feature set in terms of that. I do find that the KitchenAid is just slightly more pleasant to use. So that is another win for the KitchenAid. Now here with the Breville, there is something interesting. In the old version, it didn't allow you to actually fine adjust the grind time like it does on this new one. So that was a nice thing that Breville has added into the newer model of this. But again, both of them are gonna be able to auto dose exactly how you want. If you remove the bins on both of these things, and we will get into momentarily which bin is better, but both of them have the ability to put like a little espresso kind of like accessory on there, so that way you can put a portafilter in there and grind directly into your portafilter. The KitchenAid though has like a nice little spot where it sits underneath its tray. It's like a little magnetic thing, just sits right there, boom. There you go. The Breville, on the other hand, even though the tray comes out, so it's got like easier cleaning capabilities, there's no fancy spot for the portafilter thing to go. No, you just have to toss that thing in a drawer and hope that you don't lose it someday. So that's another win for the KitchenAid. I just find that the way that they kind of tucked the accessories in is just a little bit nicer. Again, as far as cleaning is concerned, they're also both pretty similar in terms of like the trays. Again, this one comes out, you can rinse it off, brush it off, no problem. Same thing with this, magnetically just pops right off, all good right there. Now, let's talk about the little canisters. You will find obviously that the KitchenAids is like, I mean, twice the frickin' size. I guess that's kind of nice if you if you want to maybe store the coffee, the ground coffee, you know, for a later date. But the KitchenAids is a lot bigger. It is center loaded, which I like much better than the Breville. The Breville has it like at the top here, and you have to make sure that it aligns with the hole. Otherwise, you can get some grinds that kind of like make a little bit of a mess. What I do like about the Breville canister though is that the top screws on. So that way if you want to store this for later use, and it does have this little like cap thing right here, if you want to store it for later use, you don't have to worry about the cover of it falling off. Whereas on the KitchenAid, it looks like it was sort of like originally intended to design to kind of like clip on a little bit easier, but it just simply doesn't. It just kind of comes off very easily and a little sloppily, and honestly that was a bit of a design failure on KitchenAid's part. While it makes it easier in the morning when you're just like, you know, making for one cup kind of deal, they should have made this screw on a little bit better. That said, what I do like about the KitchenAid's canister better is that the anti-static technology in it is vastly superior. If you check the website for both of these devices, you will find that they both boast anti-static technology, whatever the hell that means, in their grinders. However, the KitchenAid objectively works better. In fact, we have not had a single issue with static cling on the sides of the coffee canister after grinding, whereas on the Breville, it does still stick to the sides of the container. Now, I don't know if that's because of the center load, if it's because it's bigger, or like what sort of voodoo KitchenAid is using, but we find that the anti-static works, again, much, much better on the KitchenAid, and I really appreciate that because one of the things that always annoyed me in the morning with the Breville was that I grind up the coffee, and then I kind of gotta tap it and do this number. Meanwhile, I'm waking everybody else up in the house, and then I'm still kind of got a little bit in the sides, and I'm sort of sweeping it around in the container to make sure that I can get all the static cling off and then pour it into the paper filter. It does become a little bit annoying. And also the way that this sort of fits in to the coffee grinder itself is just quite not as smooth as it is on the KitchenAid. I do like the canister design better on the KitchenAid. Now, there are more benefits of the KitchenAid over the Breville, and that is in the noise. Now, this is going to be a little bit hard to test because of the microphones, but I'll just go ahead and push the button. But basically, I don't know if there is an appreciable difference on the microphone of this video for you to hear it, but the Breville is like twice as loud. And when you have beans in both of them, it is even louder. Frankly, the KitchenAid is actually quite quiet during operation, even with beans in there. I would say that you could probably have like a baby in the room like next to you and it like wouldn't wake them up. But the old version and the new version of the Breville make an enormous amount of noise. I don't know what kind of acoustic issues Breville has, but basically the motor pairing that with the burr grinder itself, I mean, you'll wake up every neighbor, cat, person, guest in your house just by trying to grind a little bit of coffee. And then again, on top of that, because there's static cling on the actual canister and you gotta knock this onto the table to get all the static cling coffee off of the canister, you're just making a ton of noise. Operation on the KitchenAid is vastly, vastly quieter, and I think that that was a nice touch. That was one of my biggest complaints with the Breville over the last 10 years, and I don't know why Breville hasn't solved that. In terms of customer service and reliability on both of these units, I would argue that Breville might be a little bit harder to, or a little bit easier to get a hold of than KitchenAid. However, Breville's customer service for a few of the products that we have for them has frankly been pretty lackluster. So I'm going to go ahead and chalk that up to just about even between the two of them. I kind of feel like if you have a problem with either or, you know, you fill out a warranty form and, you know, they'll send you a new one, send it back. I don't really know. I know Breville does make you pay for the shipping back to them unless you can really like blame them for the problem. And then in terms of profile, arguably the KitchenAid, even though it stands just a little bit taller, although I guess actually with the Breville with this little like loop here is a little bit taller, but even though the KitchenAid is just slightly taller, it does have a slightly slimmer form factor, thus it is a little bit easier to fit around like other kitchen appliances. So You know, that's kind of a mileage may vary situation. That just sort of depends on people's setups. I'm not going to necessarily give that, you know, the win one way or another. But gun to my head, for the money, I would say go with the KitchenAid. Even though both products are going to do largely the same thing, and I think honestly, if you can just, whichever one you find cheaper is probably the way to go. So like if you find the Breville on sale for like 150 bucks, but this is 200, go with the Breville. They're both going to be very, very good devices. I'm not necessarily knocking either of them per se, but I just like the KitchenAid's operation a little bit better. I find that I'm futzing with it just a little bit less. But if you can find the KitchenAid for a good deal, I'd say go with that over the Breville. Now that said, there is actually a third contender, and that is the OXO grinder. Now, it's not auto-dosing in the sense that you can tell it like 3 cups, 2 espresso shots, this kind of thing, but the OXO grinder does let you select the grind time. So that way, like if you're somebody that always makes like, let's say 5 cups of coffee every morning, you just sort of find that perfect number that you want, you set that, forget it, and you hit start, and boom, it's good to go. Frankly, I would say maybe that OXO is not such a bad way to go because it's about 99 bucks and you could probably find it even cheaper on sale, and it's gonna do probably just as equally good of a job as both of these. So if you can find that OXO unit and you don't feel like spending close to $150 to $200 for a burr grinder, the OXO may not be such a bad solution. But for the person that switches between their Mocha Master and their AeroPress to a French press to an espresso maker, somebody that has a lot of different coffee devices, you might find that an auto-dose burr grinder might be a little bit better way to go. Anyway, if you have a minute, visit us on Patreon. We'd be very grateful for people's support. It helps keep this channel going, allows us to buy new products for review, also allows you to maybe tell us which products we should review, and overall we hope that you guys join our Patreon and support this channel. Hope this video was helpful in helping you pick out your new coffee burr grinder. If you have any questions on either of these coffee grinders, please feel free to reach out to us in the comments section. And otherwise, please like and subscribe, and we will be back with another video really soon.